Two wild Monday Night Football games, two upsets. Giants take down the Packers 24-22. Titans come storming back 28-27 over the Miami Dolphins. We're going to talk about those games and, of course, everything else that happened in Week 14. Benjamin, let's start with this. Okay, so two teams here. Packers fighting for a playoff spot in the NFC. Dolphins fighting for the number one seed in the AFC. Both those teams go down. Answer the question right here. Which loss is more devastating for the fan base, the team, whatever? The Dolphins loss or the Packers loss? And then we'll just start with that game and then we'll hit on the other game. I'm curious to hear your answer here.
I think Packers is worse. I think the Dolphins loss sucks. Ed Werder of ESPN tweeted out that teams that were down by 14 points in with 5 minutes or less time remaining in regulation were up until this game. They were 0-767 over the last 767. Yeah, which that only takes us back to 2016. Like, that sounds a lot longer than it is. A lot of teams are down by 14 points with fewer than 5 minutes left in regulation, but still been 767 of those games since we've had a loss. So I think that the nature of the Dolphins loss is a little bit more crippling. It's like more like shocking. It kind of came out of nowhere, but that was a 13-13 game until turnover started to get weird. The Packers just didn't look good against a pretty bad Giants team. And the Dolphins still have solid positioning in the AFC East, solid positioning in the AFC playoff race. They were at a point in this game, had 4 offensive line starters that were not playing their starting positions, right? From left tackle all the way to right guard. They had musical chairs and they have guys injured, obviously. And so you kind of say, listen, we know we're really good. Vrabel and the Titans, they kind of tend to do this. If you're the Packers, you need every win. You don't want to be sitting 6-7, tied with the Rams, tied with the Seahawks, tied with the Falcons, tied with the Saints, tied with the Bucks. You wanted to sit at 7-6 up there with the Vikings, retain positioning in what's going to be a really crowded NFC wildcard race. Because the Eagles and the Cowboys, one of those teams can be in a wildcard team. There's only 2 spots in the NFC wildcard race. You did not want to be dropping a game to the Tommy DeVito New York Giants. And so, well, I think that the nature, the character of the Dolphins loss a little bit more embarrassing because of how it came to be. It's more meaningful that the Packers lost to the Giants in the perspective of their playoff race now over the month of December.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. After we talk about both games, I may change my mind, but let's start with that. So Packers lose this game. They fall to 6-7. Now, if the playoffs started today, they would still be in. They'd be a wild card seed according to these ESPN NFL standings because they'd win the tiebreak, but oh my goodness, is it bunched up down there. So you mentioned it. Whoever does not win the NFC East, that team is going to be the 5 seed. After that, it gets very interesting. The Vikings are 7-6 right now. They would be the 6th seed. And then, Ben, we got the Packers, the Rams, the Seahawks, your Falcons, the Saints, all 6-7. And if you want to get a little friskier, Giants are 5-8 and Bears are 5-8. So the Packers had a chance to be in that 7-6 territory. They were favorites in this game. This was precisely the type of game you outlined in our Friday show last week when I picked the Packers.
Sorry. Yeah, tough draw.
minus 6.5 as one of my picks. I mean, see, I don't come out of this game and say, oh my gosh, I'm really concerned about the Packers. Like, this to me was very explainable in that this was a game where their youth showed. It was a reminder that, you know what, progress, improvement for young players, for a young team. It's not linear. And it had kind of been linear for the Packers, especially like the last 4 or 5 weeks. Every game they play on Thanksgiving. It's better than the previous week. They play the Chiefs. It's better than the previous week. And I was just thinking, this is a dangerous team. Could they actually make some noise in the playoffs? Now, all of a sudden, they come back down to earth a little bit. I mean, Jordan Love was not sharp in the first half of this game. He had the fumble. He had the interception. He was missing throws. They had the special teams error there, the big one in the second half. And so those were all issues. And then this defense, Ben, I mean, I have never trusted this Packers defense, but to have a game like this where Tommy DeVito, I think, had been sacked 20 times in his previous 3 games. I think he had a sack rate over 19%, they said, coming into this game. They did not have a sack on Tommy DeVito. They did not have a takeaway On defense, I don't, except for they had the Saquon Barkley, all right, self-inflicted fumble, and then they had a special teams one. They were not making plays. And then you had the game in hand. Like the take here could have been, hey, Jordan Love didn't have a great game, but man, when they needed him at the end, he makes that throw. They get the catch there to Malik Heath for the touchdown. They persevered. They get the win. You need wins like this as a young player. That could have been the take, but the defense comes out on the field. They're just letting Tommy DeVito complete pass after pass after pass. And then Wan'Dale Robinson has the 32-yarder. So that defense is still going to be a concern for me. I still like this Packers team. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I think if you're a Packers fan, you're frustrated about this one, but you can also kind of explain it away and say, all right, we kind of know what we were getting into. Maybe we got a little carried away because we listened to Sheil say he would give Jordan Love a $700 million contract on last week's episode. Let's take a step back, regroup, and get ready for the last 4 games. That's how I view it for the Packers. What did you think?
Yeah, I think defensively, when you force only 4 Tommy DeVito incompletions and then also give up 71 Tommy DeVito rushing yards, you kind of look around and be like, all right, where Joe Barry's had a better year this year than I thought he would. Joe Barry's the Packers defense has had better performances recently, especially like no Jair Alexander. They traded away Rasul Douglas and they've made it work with like Corey Valentine. It's been a better overall performance of the Packers defense, I think, on the season than I expected. But there are these nights, man, where Joe Barry's getting beat by something. This time it's just like QB run. And you're like, dude, do something. Like,
don't let them do the one thing they want to do. The only thing they can do. I mean, until the end there.
They're trying to dial up pressure on Tommy DeVito in the first half. He's escaping up the middle. It's him against Devondre Campbell, one-on-one in space, and then they just lost to it. Snap after snap after snap. They live in the same defensive front. They live in bear fronts. Nobody runs more 5-man front than the Packers do. Snap after snap after snap, and they just keep losing to C-gap runs, which is I know that's how you beat bear front. What do we like? Whenever the Packers have a defensive performance like this, it's always just so like, what do you guys do here? Like, you line up the same way, and then you run into like a good offensive designer like Dable who knows how to get to your weak points, and then you just sit there and take it. And it's embarrassing enough when it's Kyle Shanahan doing it to you, as he's often done during the NFC playoffs. It's another thing when it's Tommy DeVito, man.
Seriously.
When Wan'Dale Robinson and Isaiah Hodgins are beating you. Like, that's just not the world you want to live in. Who would you rather have right now, Tommy DeVito or Bryce Young?
Bryce Young.
I just want to ask just for fun. I
didn't know who you were going to ask. Like, you could have said anybody there. I was going to think, what do you...
I'll tell you, Tommy made a couple throws tonight. This is the first game of Tommy DeVito's career where I'm now willing to entertain people asking me things about Tommy DeVito. Up to this point, somebody DM me on Twitter, Giants fan Avi at Big Blue 69420, like, oh, like Tommy DeVito, you watched the film? No chance. I'm not engaging with that. Tonight he made some throws, dude. Tonight I was like, okay, I will engage with the Tommy DeVito discourse. Keep him on the team. That's my thought to this point. Like, keep him as QB2, whatever. But it's certainly been a fun experience to watch. It's been a fun set of memes for the Giants. They're not taking it too seriously. They're just having a good time with him. They're using him as a runner. It's a blast. Absolutely.
You know what? And the Giants do deserve credit. You know, the Giants are not going anywhere. The Giants have
won 3 in a row. The Giants have.
Yeah, that's right. Just said they're 1 game back of the Packers. So maybe I shouldn't say that. All right, I'll settle down here a little bit. I don't think they're going anywhere. But at the same time, this was the type of season. I think a month ago I said the Giants are getting the first or second pick in the NFL draft, and that has not happened. So I do think Daboll, he comes off that season last year. He's coach of the year. They get off to this terrible start this year, and you're going, all right, which way is this going to go? There's that Wink Martindale report that comes out. They're still playing hard. They're still trying to win games. If you can come out as 6.5 point underdogs and win a football game like that. And DeVito's definitely, listen, he's definitely improved. The New York, the tabloids, the media, they're going to get carried away. That's okay. That's part of the fun of sports. I like it. It's fun. He seems like a likable guy. His teammates seem to like him. I'll tell you what did stand out to, I mean, he is athletic. He was able to, that was basically their entire game plan. It wasn't only the scrambles. They were using him in designed run game. He had a run of 26 yards. He ran 10 times for 71 yards in this game. Oh my God, Packers, how do you look yourselves in the mirror? DeVito just ran for 71 yards on you. And then he made plays at the end. I think that was 4 straight completions he had on that final possession. You don't leave Tommy cutlets 1 minute and 31 seconds. I've been saying it for years. You can't give Tommy cutlets. Are we calling him that? I don't know. They were calling him that.
Here's the problem with giving Tommy DeVito a nickname. Tommy DeVito.
DeVito's
Tommy
good enough.
DeVito.
It's too good.
It's already perfect.
I agree. You're right. Tommy DeVito. Yes, we're not going to get into, any I'm walking here or anything like that. We're going to keep it on the up and up. But nice job by the Giants. They played hard. Saquon Barkley has the big fumble at the end just after he reels off 2 monster runs, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, they blew it. They're not going to win this game, but they come back. They score Wan'Dale Robinson, big time game, 79 receiving yards, 36 rushing yards. Like you said, Tommy DeVito goes 17 for 21. They had very little interest in passing the football in this game, but they were able to do it when they had to. They just leaned on the run game. They broke out every trick. I mean, zone read, flea flicker, jet sweep, like you name it. They're just throwing the kitchen sink at the Packers, and it was enough for a victory. So if you're a Giants fan, it hasn't been the most fun year to watch the team. So you'll always have Tommy DeVito on Monday night and the game-winning drive against the Green Bay Packers. So again, Giants 5-8, Packers 6-7 here. It would still be in as the 7th seed if the season ended today, but a little bit of breathing room they could have created for themselves. They did not do that here. I still like them. I still think they're going to be good. I still believe in Jordan Love. This was just a little bit of a step back for them. All right.